Hello friends and family, you're welcome back again to Netcode-Hub channel. First of all, I would like to say thank you so much for taking time to watch video from Netcode-Hub channel. I am Frederick and your lesson facilitator, and also I'm going to do my best to make this video very simple and clear. As usual, if you want to get more videos from this channel, please subscribe to this channel and also click on the notification icon so you receive updates as soon as a new video drops. Also, give a thumbs up to this video to help this channel grow as well. So in this video, we are going to talk about how to manage user, including roles in Blazor Server using individual account. So we're going to create a new Blazor Server application. And now with this Blazor Server app, you can find it here from this Blazor Server. So when you click on Blazor, you're going to find this and you're going to choose this Blazor Server. Now, the name of this project is going to be Demo Blazor User and Role Manager. I'm going to put this at GitHub, so check the description of this video and you're going to have the link over there to just clone it from the GitHub. So let me just add demo. And now when it comes to the authentication type, normally I go in for none, but this time around, let's go for the individual account. So click on create and now let's get it created. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to register user. You're going to create a role and assign the user or a role to a user. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. Let's see. So our app is now ready. Now this is what you want to do. Let's go to solution. And you can see we have some folders other like the areas for the login and also the registration. You can see from here that we have this pages and we have, all right, so here we have the normal stuff. Now when you go to these areas, you can see we have the identity, you have pages, and you can see we have these files over here. So these are the default one created by the Blazor team. And you have the logout and also the login and the registration forms, they are hidden, okay? Unless we match, maybe we scaffold or we do something to get them, but we're not focusing on that. You want to maintain the login and also the registration form as we have for this default. Now, this is what we're going to do. So let's go to this app setting.json. And now you can see we have a default connection created. And now to do this, we are going to check. Let's remove the strings. And now let's add the most simple Blazor user and role manager. So I would like to add a DB to this. So let's save that. All right, so now this is done. So this is going to be the database name. You can actually remove and add a simple name, but for now, let's maintain what we have as a default one. Now, after doing this, we have to add identity role to the service. Check the program.cs file. And now in here, you can see we have these default services being registered as soon as you choose an individual account. And that is very nice. It just reduces the work that we're supposed to do. But let's add one line here. So you can see where we have this and that, where we have this add default identity. Let's, in between here, let's add the identity role. So add row is because you want to add row. So add row as identity row. Okay, so we are good to go. Now let's save this. And now this is what we're going to do. We can just run this application. And as soon as you run this, we are going to perform database migration as well. Okay, so you can see we have it over here. The application is on it's live now. And you can see we have this register and now login. So if you try to register, let's click on this and let's pass in, let's say admin at Gmail. Let's pass in password as admin at 123. Let's repeat admin at 123. So that is the password that I'm using here. So click on register. And as soon as you do that, you're going to navigate us to a certain page whereby we will have to perform database migration. Right. So this is a file. When you check this, your solution, and you can see we have a folder called migration, open the data, and you can see we have open this migration folder. So this is the file. All right. This is a file. It contains all the table columns which has been specified here. As soon as you click on apply migration, it means it's going to take this into a working ground. It's going to create this physically in a table form for us to see. So that is what you're going to do. So click on apply migrations. And as soon as you do that, you see it tells you that try refreshing the page. So let's get it refreshed. Confirm. And I can see we are good to go. So let's confirm the account here. And let's now try to log in. So we have the account created and our details have been sent into the database. How do we find that? So when you go to server object and click on, if you're not having this, click on view and then click on SQL server object. So you can see we have this SQL server here. That's a local DB MS SQL. So databases, and this is a database that we use. That's a demo one. So let's open this tables and let's look up for a table known as ASP.NET users. So you can see we have this user here. Let's open this table. Now, when you open this user row, there's nothing in here. Okay, but when you check the users, you can see we have one user registered here, and that is the name that we use here as an email to register. All right, now let's try to log in. So if I try to log in here, let's specify the password. So that's an admin at 123. Let's click on login, and this is going to log in us to the application. So we are logging, as you can see from here. Now this uses a cookie. So when you click on inspect element and you go back to this application, now check cookie. So open it. You can see we have this identity application stored away. So this is a cookie that we use for this session. So it expires when you close this browser. And now as soon as you open it again, you have to now log in. As far as the browser stays open, you are also open to authentication. Okay, so let's close this up. Now this is what you want to focus on. Now you can see here we have authentication, but we don't have any authorization like a role-based authorization. So in such case, how do you implement role-based authorization? Let's first start to see if this has authentication or not, has an authorization or not. So in such case, we're going to navigate to the index page, and now within the index page, let's use this authorized attribute to check if you have a role-based or not. So go to solution. Now check this index razor, and now here let's paste this. So if it's an administrator, you're going to say hi admin. If you are a user, you're going to have hi user. Now, although we authenticated, but we are not administrator nor users. Let's save this, and now let's refresh the page. And let's see. So if I refresh this, you can see nothing happens here. Although you're authenticated, but we don't know whether you're a user or you're an administrator. Maybe you can just restart this to check up and see. So as you know, since we're using a cookie, we have to, that's the sessions, we have to also log in again. So now let's do it again. So let's wait for the login to be done. Right, so now we are in now. But as you can see, we don't see any hi admin or hi user. We don't see any here. It means we are not administrator. We are not user. So what are we? We don't know, right? Let's figure it out. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to create a row, then assign the user to a row. But this is the use case that we're going to implement. You know, administrator of this page is supposed to be once and created once. So the first time, admin has to register or create an account. So the first registration must be an admin. Okay. Whether the name or the email of the person starts with an admin or not. As soon as you register for the first time, you're going to be admin. The next subsequent registration is going to be user. So later on, we're going to talk about how to add or how to manage user. Okay, how to add another administrator, how to delete or how to remove or how to change the role of a user in this application. But for now, let's focus on how to create a role, how to check the role of the user, how to check if admin is already created. If not, how to create a role and assign a user to that role so that every user who has registered with this application will have a role to a role tag on his forehead, right? Okay, so let's get it going. So this we're going to do first. We have to navigate to the index, and we want to check. You know, index is the home page. So as soon as the person logs in and gets to the home page, that is where we want to do our magic. That's where we want to implement our code to check if the user is authenticated, if the user has a role, or etc. All right, so let's get going. Now in here, you first have to include the following. So let's include identity user. Let's include identity role. Let's put them on top here. We can put this in the import.razor, but for us to know the type of that we are using, I'd like to put them here. So you can see we are using user manager from identity user and the role manager from identity role. And we're using this authentication state provider. That is the default one from this Blazor Server application. I know we are using this JS runtime, but one good thing about this is we can use this, you can call this JS as soon as the page renders or initializes, because this is a Blazor server, so it first renders on the server side. At that time, the client browser is not available. So on the second rendering, that is where the client browser be available. So we take that into consideration when we want to display any information to the user. Okay, so you don't have any error in it. All right, so now we have this. Let's implement our code here. So this is our code base. Now in here, the first thing that we do here is we are going to step up and cascading authentication states. Now the reason why we are doing this is we can have this session from this app.razor. When you check this app.razor, you can see that this is a container that surrounds everything here. So this authentication state transcends to all the components that's going to be rendered in here inside of this main layout. So when we are inside this main layout, we can call this services here because it is a child to this mother container, right? So that's why we can actually use this cascading authentication state inside this index here and to retrieve the user as well. All right, so once we have this, the next thing to do here is we have to have this an initialize cycle, and that is the page initializes. So this is also one page life cycle. So when this renders, by this time round, anytime this page initializes, the JS won't be available because this happens on the server side. Okay, now that's what you want to do. So as soon as the page renders on the server side, you want to handle the login system and also the user management. So first of all, let's store user credentials, or is it credentials? Let's store the user details. Okay, so as soon as you log in, you're going to have your username, and that's going to be your email and any other claim that the application has or use in your token generation. You're going to have it stored over here. Okay, now we have this. So let's check if the user is authenticated. So if you authenticated, then what are you going to do? Let's see. So you paste this. Then if the user is authenticated, then let's store the email somewhere. So you want to just extract only the email. So this is what we do. The current.identity.name, it's using the email for the registration. So we store it as a user email here, so that when you call this user email, when you call this, you won't be confused, okay? Because you want to retrieve the email from it, and the email is what you use as the name. Okay, so once you have this, the next thing to do here is let's first get this authenticated user. So let's get the details of this authenticated user, and we can use this user management.find by name async. We pass in this email, which is going to go into the database and I'll retrieve the user here. And here, by all means, this must have data because that user must be authenticated. And as soon as you're authenticated, it means your data is found inside the database. So here, but still we can check something here. Now, so as soon as you get the data, we get the user data, let's get the user role. So here, when the person registers for the first time, the user will have no role as you saw earlier on. Okay, so this is going to have now. So in case, and I know that this is here, it is row. So it could be that the user might have more than one row. So this is going to be a list. So let's check if this row.count is equal to 0, meaning that the user has no row. In case the user has no row, then what are you going to do? Let's open our bracket. And in here, we're going to check if the administrator row is created. So let's check if the row is created. So if the role is created, it means that somebody has registered already, and that person has been consumed the administrator role. Okay, but in case the administrator role, it is null. In case this role, it is null, meaning this is not found. It means that the administrator role is not created. That means that this current user, it is the first person who is registering the application. So in such case, that's why I gave it over here, as this means administrator role is not yet created, meaning it has not been assigned to anyone. If so, then create it and assign it to the current user. The current user is what we find over here as a user email. So we create a new administrator role, then we assign the role as administrator to the user. So as I speak, this user is going to be an administrator. Then let's return. After doing this, let's return. Okay, but what of in case the role is not null? Administrator has been created already and assigned. Then let's check if user is also there. So in case user is there, in case user has been created, then let's assign it. But in case user is not created, then let's create it. So we also find this role by user. In case it is null, it means that person, it is a second person, it is the next person to the administrator who is registering. So in such case, the user is null. In case that is what it means, then create the user role. After creating, then assign the user role to the current user. Then we want to display this to the user. Okay, this is going to be an alert, but this, as soon as the page renders on the server side, this won't be displayed. That's why we have to put it in the try catch block, because for the first rendering, you're going to have error here. Now, in case user is also found, then it's going to skip this and assign the already created role to the user. Very simple. Now, in case the count of this, it is more than 0, meaning a user is created, a user is found, or a row is found, then we want to grab and display the row of that user. So let's put it down here. So else, then we want to say that the username has been assigned to the row. Since the row here is coming in with a list, okay, we have to get the first one, because here we are assigning only a single row to a user, no multiple rows. So we can just retrieve the first, it's going to be the first one. Okay, so that's all that we will need to do. Now let's save this. And now let's build application and apply the changes to see. So now we have an account created already, isn't it? Now let's check it up and see. So as soon as we load the application, we have the row created. So let's refresh this and let's check it up and see. All right, so with the rows, we have no row yet. And let's see from this user. Okay, so we have this user. Now let's log into this and see. Since this person is the first person to be registered, this person is going to be assigned as an admin to this. So currently we have no row here. You see this, there's no row here. Now let's open the row and see the row table. So you can see we have the ASP user, we have this ASP rows. So let's open this data. You can see we have user ID and row ID. There's nothing here, right? Now when we check, there's a rows. This so you can see here we have no row. All right, now let's go in there and now log in. So let's log in as an admin, and this is the first person who is logging in. So defaultly is going to be assigned as an administrator, and we must see a pop-up on the screen that you have been assigned as an administrator. Okay, yeah, that's where we have it. So admin@gmail.com has been assigned to what? Administrators. So as soon as you do that, let's check it up and see. So now when I click on the home, okay, so we have this set. That's right. Now let's refresh this. Okay, we have it. Now this is what we're going to do. Let's go to the table. Now let's refresh this, and you can see that an administrator row has been created. Let's check the user. User is still there. When we check this ASP.NET row user, you can see that here we have the user ID and we have the row ID. So this user has been assigned as admin defaultly. Now let's see. Let's also create another user, and let's see if that user is going to be assigned as a user or administrator. So we have this set. All right, let's log out. And now when we log out and refresh the page, you can see nothing happens here. Let's create another account here. And this is going to be, let's say admin1. So admin1@gmail. Let's use the same password as admin. Then say admin@123. So there's admin1. Now let's register, create an account, and now let's try to log in. So when we check this, you can see there's no role created, only the first one. When we check the rows too, no role created as well. But you can see when you check the user, the new user has been added. Let's check it out. You can see the new user has been added as an admin1. Alright, so now let's log into this and also see what happens. So admin1, log in, and now let's see. So admin1 has been assigned to a user. So you can say that automatically it checks administrator is created already, then assign a person to the user. Okay, if the user role doesn't exist, create it and assign the person to the user. So as I speak, you see we have this user here now over created. Alright. So now let's check this. So you can see from here that now let's see if this is going to work. So here we are using an authorized view, and we are saying that the role here is supposed to be administrators. So anyone who has a role of administrator can see this. Likewise, the same thing applies to this as an user. Let's save this. And now let's wait for this to get refreshed. Let's open our page, and I even have it here. So there's a user. So you can see we have hire user. Right. Now let's see. This is a person is the user. So you can see we have hire user. Let's log out. Let's log in again. You can see it is no more there. Let's log in again. And at this time around, we are going to use an admin itself. And you can see we have this an administrator as a role, and we have hire admin. All right, so that is a way to implement manage roles, right, in Blazor Server application using the individual account. I believe you love this. In the next video, we're going to talk about how to manually assign a user to a role, such that maybe this, I want to add a multiple administrators, so I can actually assign this person. Instead of the user, I can change the user to admin. And I can also invoke the invoke role as well. I can just remove or delete the user from the application. Is it possible? Let's have a look in the next video. So for now, thank you. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and give me a thumbs up as well. Check the description. We have the information over there waiting for you. I'll put the GitHub link also there. Thank you. Take care of yourself, and I'm going to catch you up